Welcome to ranking every starting quarterback from 32 to 1 for the 2023 NFL season. One quick note before you watch the video. We recorded when Colt McCoy was still the starting quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, and then they cut him and didn't have any clear answer because even though they traded for Dobbs, they still had Clayton Tune listed as maybe the starter, but we now know it's Josh Dobbs as the starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. It does not change our list in any way, shape, or form. He is number 32.
I don't know if this has ever happened in NFL history where a team has went all of camp, all of OTs, all of preseason with one guy who was supposed to be their starter, cut him, traded for a guy that was brand new, threw him into the lineup. But that's where the Arizona Cardinals are, turning to the Pastronaut, who comes in at number 32. I'm pumped, man. The NFL is back. In the words of TSN legendary sports broadcaster John Liu, LFG.
When this video comes out, it just means that the season is around the corner and it feels like Christmas.
Dude, I'm ready to rock. The quarterback ranking day is literally my favorite day of the year. It's actually more important than the Super Bowl, so I'm actually so excited to be here.
This is gonna come off really lame. There is nothing I would rather do in my life than rank quarterbacks.
Is he telling the truth?
As is with every year we do this, there is always debate amongst people that comment on it, amongst ourselves.
Well, I feel like last year we did some major damage in a negative way to some guys.
I don't think Jacoby Brissett's the worst. I think it's Geno Smith. Jacoby Brissett sucks, but he doesn't suck the most.
I would describe Daniel Jones as Peyton Manning if Peyton Manning couldn't run, wasn't accurate.
If you're Matt Ryan and you're the Colts, I think this is a great partnership, and I see them as a playoff team.
I think Russ is going to remind everyone this year that he's probably closer to a top 5 quarterback.
So maybe this year we won't be as pathetic with it.
A refresher of how we come up with this list. All 6 of us appearing in this video all made a list of our own from 32 to 1, and then we average it out to come up with this list that is going to kind of be revealed to us right now. And as always, this is for the 2023 season. Throw everything else out the window. Throw projections out, throw the past out. We're left with just these names, 32 to 1. Let's get to the list.
And what a dream start for Sam Howell, the young rookie making his NFL debut.
I'm kind of into Sam Howell. I don't know. I think he's got some decent weapons.
I think this guy can prove some people wrong.
If there's someone I think can vault up this list, I kind of think Sam Howell might be that candidate. This is a guy who was touted as potentially the first overall pick at one point in the draft cycle. He ended up falling way down, but I don't know, kind of into Sam Howell. I think that's a little low.
Ritter floats it. It is caught for his first NFL touchdown.
If it was up to me, I would want Ritter and Howell ahead of Tannehill and Jimmy G, because I just want them on my team. I think they're going to be better, if not already kind of better, because they're young and they're hip, and Tannehill can barely move, and Jimmy G almost failed a physical that stopped him from going to the Raiders. So that's where I kind of come in on this.
I think in his final game in Week 18, Ritter threw for a pretty decent number, had over 100 passer rating, and now he's got Bijan. He's got Kyle Pitts. He's got Drake London. The groundwork is there.
He could be sneaky good, and we're going to look back on this, and 30 is just going to be way too ridiculously low.
Anything's gonna be better than what Mariota did last year.
Mayfield to the end zone to Jefferson. Is that possible? Touchdown.
Baker, touchdown maker.
I love Baker Mayfield, but he's not a great quarterback. I mean, plain and simple, right?
I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it.
Haven't been a lot of touchdowns recently from that guy, and I don't think there's going to be that many this year.
Baker's career has been flashes in the pan constantly, and people keep buying into Baker and keep buying into Baker, and he gives them hope. He did it in Cleveland. He won that game and gave everyone free beer. Then he sucked. Then he went to Carolina and he had one great game, and then he sucked. And then he went to the Rams and he had one great game in primetime, and then he sucked. Why do people think that Baker is going to make some resilient comeback in Tampa?
Don't have a lot of confidence. I think this might be one of Baker's last starting roles.
Stroud, time, lofting, end zone caught, touchdown.
I love the rookie class. I love Stroud. I love Bryce Young. I love Anthony Richardson. Out of the 3, though, I think Stroud needs to be the farthest down this list.
I'm not sure if CJ Stroud is gonna be a good NFL quarterback or if he just had really great skill position players at Ohio State.
Rookies are so hard to judge. I think CJ had a great year at Ohio State, but like it's a completely different league, and going to the Texans is never fun.
I'm intrigued to see what he looks like in the NFL, where he doesn't have that same advantage on the outside.
I think that out of the 3 rookies, Stroud's season may not reflect his actual talent, and it might take him a little longer to rise up this list. So pretty correct spot.
Good luck, CJ.
This guy is going to wow you with plays that you look at and you say, not many people can do that. I haven't seen people do that in this world.
Anthony Richardson. Is he ready to start in the NFL? I don't know. What I do know is he is a freak athlete. He's got a crazy arm, great runner. I think if anything, he's going to be very interesting. I think you just want to see some glimpses of flashy, high potential plays. Overall, he's one of the more exciting players, and I think he's going to be a thrill to watch.
Bryce eludes the 2 tacklers, and they give him the touchdown. This guy is Houdini.
I love Bryce Young.
Here's the thing. In NFL history, what has there been? Maybe 10 guys who are 6 feet or under who have been good quarterbacks?
I'm fine with him being like the smallest quarterback in NFL history, and like, yes, there's all kinds of stats that prove that, yeah, if you're not meeting these height requirements and weight requirements, like, you will not succeed in the NFL.
That kind of history to go against is tough. I think Bryce Young can have a good year, and I think Bryce Young can be a good quarterback because I just love how accurate he is and everything, all the tools he brings.
I think we're going to see a pretty fun year from him in Carolina. I'm excited.
He just might be too small.
Jones looks left, steps up. Mac Jones runs it in for the New England touchdown.
Everybody loves making the Mac Jones system quarterback joke. I kind of agree with it.
Mac Jones has also given us like zero reason to believe that he's a starter in the NFL.
I don't think he's bad. I just think he's very mid.
Yeah, whatever, Mac's fine.
We were harsh on Mac. Like, come on. I know last year the whole Zappy thing, but like, Mac was bad last year. But 25th, we were a little rude to Mac Jones, and I hope he doesn't make us pay.
Garoppolo, fastball, touchdown. Garoppolo on the money.
Jimmy G. What to think of this guy?
I don't care about Jimmy.
Jimmy G's a good quarterback. I don't really care what people have to say. I think he's actually pretty good.
Every time he's under center in San Fran, he wins. But he's not thought of in a very high regard.
I think he has the chance to take Las Vegas to that next level, which sucks for me being a Chargers fan, having to live in the same division.
Track record shows that all this guy does is win, so we'll sort of see what happens.
Still not an elite quarterback, but better than most.
Pickett, flush, pressured, throws on the run, caught by Harris for a touchdown! Oh, what a play! And the Steelers take the lead!
Tiny hands Pickett, 2-glove Kenny.
Small hands Kenny, moving up in the world, moving up from this list from last year. I respect it.
Kenny's fine at 23 until he proves otherwise. I think he needs to actually step into this offense and, do something.
Tom with the block, Love to the air, caught! Touchdown, Reed!
I'm into Jordan Love. I think this guy's going to be good.
This is Jordan Love's shot, and I have no idea what this guy's going to be.
He's had an amazing camp, which I know no one really cares about, but he's throwing a nice deep ball. The only thing is this guy is going to be a little inconsistent in his first season. Their whole offense is full of rookies.
I like Christian Watson. I like Romeo Doubs. He's got a great tandem in the backfield. I don't know. I think he can be the guy in a wide open NFC North to kind of break out this year.
This is a dude who I think next year is going to be, wherever he is in this ranking, it's either way ahead or it's way below. He's not going to be this middle of the pack. We are going to know what Jordan Love is after the season.
Next year, when we're doing this ranking, I think he's top 15. And by the end of year 2 as a starter, I can see him being top 10.
That's a spicy meatball.
Give Jordan Love a chance, baby. It's time.
Tannehill trying to do it himself. Henry knocks him in. Touchdown.
Dolphins legend, Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill, again, is like very much that mid-quarterback status, sort of like the Kirk Cousins era. And I think Tennessee is going to suck this year, so that's not going to help him at all.
You know what you're getting with Tannehill. I'll say that.
Purdy going to look left, though, going to run away from Moa. And Brock Purdy will go in the end zone for a touchdown. Down and Purdy.
Okay, this one is insane. We're putting 7 games of Brock Purdy, and he's already the 20th best quarterback in the NFL.
I think that's fair.
Can we just put Kyle Shanahan at 20?
Brock Purdy has this like Cinderella story, amazing quarterback ranking aura around him because everybody saw what he did with the Niners last year, but not for anything. almost any other quarterback would do the same if he had the talent that he had around him.
I think Brock Purdy's like good. Like when he got to actually play, I think Brock Purdy was easily the best quarterback we saw on the Niners roster.
Whoever he decides is starting at quarterback, that person just succeeds. It doesn't matter. You see Sam Darnold in the preseason, that guy's tossing dimes all over the place. Like if Sam Darnold actually started ahead of Brock Purdy, I think he'd be just as good as Brock Purdy, maybe even better.
That team's got so many weapons around him that if we do see a big rise from a quarterback in this list, it has to be Brock Purdy.
I think it's a little too early to crown him.
Fields breaks the tackle. Fields on the scramble. Fields in for the touchdown. Are you kidding me?
Justin Fields has been getting a lot of hate this video. I know that.
I'm not really sold on Justin Fields. I think he's good, but not necessarily buying the hype.
People think Justin Fields is a good quarterback because he's a really good fantasy player.
I honestly think that Justin Fields is going to put together a pretty good year. And by that, I mean, like, he's going to start following that Jalen Hurts trajectory.
He's a great runner. He did a lot last year in terms of running the ball. This guy threw for 200 yards 2 times all season last year.
But now the Bears have actually given him that number 1 wide receiver. So with that, I think Fields is going to be able to throw it a lot better than he did last year.
I'm not sure if this guy's even a starter by the end of the year. I am fading hard on Justin Fields.
Jones throws, end zone, touchdown. The Giants take the lead.
We're going to get to like 18 to 12 is where you could move any of these quarterbacks any way you wanted, and I'm not going to get mad at you for it.
One of the toughest ones, I think, and I'm sure people in the comments are going to light us up a little for having him this low because of how successful of a season the Giants had, and he just signed for like this huge contract.
Daniel Jones, mobile quarterback, kind of stinks, is fine. If your quarterback's worse than Daniel Jones, you need a new quarterback. If your quarterback's better than Daniel Jones, then you probably got a solid quarterback.
Second year in the Brian Daboll offense. We saw what Brian Daboll did in his first year as Giants head coach, and I think that's the most impressive part of this team. He lifted everybody up, so I wouldn't be surprised if Jones improves as a passer. I just don't believe in him as a passer, and that's why I think he's 18, and I want to see substantial improvements from him in that area before we raise him up a little more.
Carr throwing, end zone, caught. What a beautifully thrown football by Derek Carr.
Derek Carr at 17, going into New Orleans.
You know, if you got him, you got a shot at the playoffs, but you're probably going to miss out most of the time. And even if you make it to the playoffs, it's like, we're in this, but man, if we fall behind, we're absolutely done.
I just don't see a ton of upside with this New Orleans Saints team. Maybe we're at the point where Derek Carr's best days are behind him. He's going to have to win back my trust first. Not the biggest Derek Carr guy.
Put him at the 3. Russ diving. Touchdown, Denver.
Last year, I sang his praises, okay? I drank the Kool-Aid. I wanted to ride with Russ. He wanted everyone to ride with him. We were all pumped, riding everywhere. We were riding to Seattle and losing the opening game.
Let him cook, Russ Wilson. He didn't cook last year at all. And I think Luka will have lots to say about him being a Broncos fan. And I think Broncos fans were all collectively very disappointed.
He can't get worse. And I gotta believe that the guy that they traded for is still in his body somewhere.
Now that Russ has gotten away from the stench of Nathaniel Hackett, and he's with a quarterback guru in Sean Payton, this could be a bounce back year from Russ.
Either he's going to be really good under Sean Payton and it's going to be dangerous, or his job security, his potential Hall of Fame candidacy one day, his whole body of work in his career is going to be completely forgotten with this 2 terrible years in Denver. So big year coming up for Russell Wilson.
I just don't think he was in his spot in the right kitchen. I think he needs to move kitchens for this year.
Next year, this guy's either top 10 or he's in the 20s.
Stafford going deep. It is caught. Atwell, touchdown. 62 yards.
So I didn't know how to rank Matthew Stafford.
Stafford is a very, very difficult one to rank because this guy was a Super Bowl champion and had a great season with the Rams 2 years ago.
What Matthew Stafford are we getting? Are we going under the assumption that the Holy Spirit has blessed his elbow and he's going to be completely fine back to the way he was before this injury? Or are we going to go the more realistic route and say that he's 35 or older and he just had a major elbow injury, and he's probably not going to be that great ever again?
That O-line's a disaster. That defense is a fraction of what it used to be, and I think that is really going to make Stafford suffer.
I think Matt Stafford has more question marks around him than any other quarterback in the league.
This one we could look back on and say it's too high. I think that is a real possibility, but also he is an incredibly talented player.
3rd and 6, Goff. Across St. Brown to the end zone. Detroit touchdown.
Jared Goff is kind of like Derek Carr, but a little bit better. He's steady, but he's missing that magic. Like Jared Goff, he's going to put together a great season. He had a great stat line last year, like 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, which is amazing for him. He doesn't put the ball in jeopardy too often. I just don't trust him in like, a shootout situation.
On a 2nd and goal, Smith will keep. Big hole in the middle. Geno Smith runs it in for a Seahawks touchdown.
Crazy to think that Geno Smith was like the 30th ranked quarterback in our rankings last year. Nobody would have thought he would jump up to this high of a position.
I feel like I was adamant that he was the worst quarterback last year, that he should have been 32. I was saying Jacoby Brissett is better than him. So I would like to publicly take this time to apologize to you, Geno. I wrote you off, and you didn't write back.
That's the problem. I ain't right back. Let's go.
Look, Geno had a great year last year, and his weapons got even better. He doesn't throw it downfield enough for me. I want my quarterbacks to kind of air it out.
Now that, no one's sleeping on the Seahawks anymore, no one's sleeping on Geno anymore, I think he's going to be a little bit worse, but still very deserving of the 13th spot.
He's coming in with people expecting more of him, so the defense will be a little more ready for him. I think I had him a little lower than the rest of the group. I don't think this is a good year for Geno Smith.
Cousins. He's got it. Touchdown. It's Osborne again. And Minnesota is in front with 45 seconds to play.
Yeah, Kirk's probably going to be the very last quarterback that I would say if your quarterback's worse than Kirk Cousins, you need a new quarterback. If he's better than Kirk Cousins, you probably have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's like right at that line. There's something about Kirk Cousins that I actually kind of like. I know he throws checkdowns in big moments of playoff games, and like his success in playoff games isn't great. He actually played like really well last year. He showed that he can win close games. I know everyone's going to discredit that they won like 8 one-score games last year. I'm wrongfully taking stock in Kirk Cousins here. This is going to blow up in my face.
2 into the end zone. Caught for the touchdown. Caught for the touchdown. Waddle. Miami is taking the lead.
Tua coming in at number 11, almost in the top 10.
By far the most polarizing quarterback in this whole class.
I think Tua has finally earned the respect of the NFL.
I think if he's fully healthy, he'll definitely be in the top 10 next year.
With Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle, with the Mike McDaniel offense, we've seen that Tua doesn't have this noodle arm that everyone was talking about.
From a Bills fan perspective, I watched Tua play well against Buffalo last year. I watched Tua play well against a lot of teams last year.
I almost feel like I don't even need to be his cheerleader anymore. He has proven it. His game speaks for itself. When he's on the field, Miami's one of the best teams in the NFL. They're one of the best offenses in the NFL.
It's all on health. I know he's doing his jiu-jitsu training. I was going to do like a kick, but that's not jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu would be more like a grapple. So if Hempstead, if you want to come I can get you in the guard, then we can demonstrate some jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu? I'm going to learn jiu-jitsu.
Too much of what Tua does is structured and is through play design by McDaniels. And you see it often where it's like, yeah, Tua's hitting a guy who's open, but if Tua can hit him in stride, that's a touchdown instead of just a large gain.
He's got so many great weapons around him. He's just a really fun player to watch.
Before we talk about Deshaun Watson, the football player, though, you need to talk about everything else that's involved with him. The accusations against him, the lawsuits, that stuff can't be ignored when you're talking about Deshaun Watson. I really didn't want to rank him, to be honest. I am uncomfortable ranking him. I'm uncomfortable talking about him as just a quarterback because I think it's unfair to all the people that have been affected by what he's done off the field. He's at 10 because he's talented as a football player, but as an individual, would I ever want this person leading my team? Absolutely not. Let's move on.
Deep drop. Prescott lofting one. He's got it. Lamb gonna walk in. Touchdown, Dallas.
I'm a big fan of Dak Prescott. I feel like a lot of people aren't a fan of Dak Prescott for some reason.
Dak is overhated. It's tough being the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, the center of the NFL universe.
He's just like this calm, cool, collected guy. I'm interested to see what the Mike McCarthy offense looks like with him because I think they were rolling with Kellen Moore. But by all accounts, everyone talks about him as this great leader, a guy you want leading your team.
Every year Dak has been a starter. He's done well. The Cowboys have been a legit playoff contender. He just needs to get a couple more wins under his belt when it counts the most. But this is a great roster. This is a great team. And I think Dak's going to lead them far this year.
If you wouldn't want him as your quarterback, like, unless you've got the 8 guys ahead of him, then you're just lying to yourself and you're biased towards him. I like Dak Prescott a lot, and he's definitely entrenched in the top 10.
Rodgers with the fade for Wilson and the touchdown. To my point, he threw an absolute dart. That was covered, Bob.
So 8 was where I had Rodgers at. And initially I'm like, oh, are we being a little insulting to Rodgers?
Last year, you would have been hard-pressed to find somebody who had him outside of the top 5 rankings, outside of the top 3, really, right?
I have a feeling that when we look back at the end of the season, we're going to have disrespected Aaron Rodgers because in 2 of the past 3 seasons, he's been an MVP.
I think this is now just a question of age. Not everybody is Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the outlier.
I think with this fresh attitude, he's going to be a top 5 QB this season. I didn't rank him like that, but I think that's what's going to happen. I'd feel it.
Lawrence in the shotgun, looking left, throws left, and it's caught! There's your number 1 pick in the draft last year.
This is where we get kind of like interesting. I think here's where you get to the elite of the elite.
Isn't it crazy what happens when you go from Urban Meyer to Doug Peterson?
Yeah, I see Trevor Lawrence in my nightmares after that disastrous playoff game last year.
Lawrence weeks 1 through 8 last year, 10 touchdowns, 6 picks. Lawrence weeks 9 through 17, 15 touchdowns, 2 picks. If we get the guy that we saw the second half of the season, he is on that trajectory upward.
I think this year, if I'm going off the board, I would say an MVP pick for this year would be Trevor Lawrence.
I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he's got a great system in Jacksonville, and I think he has all the talent you'd want out of a young star.
It's tough to crack that top 3, but Lawrence is well on his way. As long as he can keep gradually improving, then yeah, he'll be in the top 5 eventually.
I think I had Lamar at 6. Like, I think I'm fine to put Lamar at 6. I feel like people always think that I say Lamar's the best quarterback in the league, and I never have once said that. I've said that he's better than other people.
I think he's in a fair spot now, but again, we've seen the talent. We've seen his MVP type season. I think he can move himself up to a top 5 position by the end of the year if he plays well.
The fact that Lamar is now getting a new OC to sort of refresh things there, I think this is a big year for Lamar. I am excited to see him play. I think he could be a bit of a fantasy steal this year.
And this is the first year that we are going to see Lamar with actual weapons as long as they stay healthy. As long as they stay healthy. I'm excited to see him actually throw the ball so people can stop saying he can't throw the ball because he can throw the ball.
Lamar, if you stay healthy, you can crack this top 5 next year if you have a season where you play 15, 16 games.
Herbert stops, launches deep. Jalen Guyton, he's got it! Touchdown Chargers! What a throw!
Justin Herbert at 5. Okay, I wonder how Pigs feels about that. I'm sure he wants him a little higher.
That's my guy, Justin Herbert, future MVP in this league.
Herbert is an interesting one because he has all the talent in the world. I think if you just watch him throw the ball once, that's all you need to see to know that this guy is an elite talent.
I think Herbert is absolutely skyrocketing.
That playoff loss stings. How much of it is on him, though? Because I'm not confident in Brandon Staley.
Yes, he put up 30 points in a half in a playoff game. He also put up 3 in the second half, and they lost in a humiliating fashion. You can't completely blame a defense when you put up 3 points in an entire half.
Herbert has been let down by bad coaching more than any quarterback on this list.
Kellen Moore is now there, and we saw what Kellen Moore did to the Cowboys offense and Dak Prescott.
I think that will help him a lot. Push the ball down the field a little bit more. Show off that big arm, because this is a guy who had one of the worst yards per attempt last year in the entire league.
He has everything you want. He has the arm. He has the speed. Last year, he played half the season on a broken rib. Did your quarterback play half the season on a broken rib?
Justin Herbert routinely rolling out to his right, stopping on a dime, throwing it 70 yards in the air right on the money to people. That's what we're talking about here. No one else has that arm in the NFL. So if there's a guy that'll move up, like, it's Justin Herbert. He's going to have an amazing season.
This guy is so talented. He's still young, but it's time for us now to see the results of that talent and for the Chargers to start winning some important football games.
Five, we're in a good spot. I just need to see him actually, win.
Hurts has all day, loaded up, taking a shot, looking for A.J. Brown. He's got it! Touchdown!
Hurts is a tricky one. If you had asked me last year, I was fading Hurts hard.
People probably think he should be higher.
I'm going to take this time to formally apologize to Jalen Hurts because a year ago, I didn't think he was that good, and he proved me wrong all season long and put up one of the best Super Bowl performances of all time, really, especially for a losing quarterback.
A lot of people last year, we were all wondering, can he throw the ball? Clearly he can.
Being at the Super Bowl, watching Jalen Hurts absolutely throw dimes, and don't get it twisted. Jalen Hurts was throwing dimes at the Super Bowl.
I think the Super Bowl game I was most impressed with Jalen Hurts. Like, on the biggest stage, he proved that he could throw the football and not just win with his legs. Some of those throws in the Super Bowl were like God-tier throws that only the elite of the elite can make, and he has proven to be the elite of the elite.
I think he'll only continue to mature as a passer. Yes, the Eagles roster may have lost a couple pieces, but I think now is where we continue to see Jalen Hurts grow and continue his stance as an elite quarterback in this league, both in the air and on the ground.
His greatest strength is still being able to take off, and he can put over 100 yards on the ground in any given game. We'll have to see what he can do with a new offensive coordinator scheming things up.
He definitely deserves to be considered one of the top QBs. I would like to see him do it again.
I think this is the perfectly fair spot for Hurts. But I think it's going to be a tough act to follow.
I just think we want to see one more season of it before we rise him up any farther. He's there. He's at the table.
Burrow on 3rd and goal. Touchdown! Joe Burrow is getting it done in the cold.
Okay, this is the big debate, whether it's Burrow, whether it's Allen 2 or 3. A lot of people had Burrow 2, Allen 3.
Joe Burrow should be 2.
Yes, I had him at 2.
Joe Burrow's number 2.
Joe Burrow at 3 is ridiculous to me. I don't think it's even a question to say that he's the second best quarterback in the league.
I heard Pigs put him 5, which is borderline criminal. We should probably lock Pigs up for that.
I personally think Herbert is better than him, might be a little bit biased, and I think Hurts is better than him as well.
There's no doubt about it. The guy has made it to consecutive AFC championship games. No one else can beat Patrick Mahomes. And I know it's not one-on-one or whatever, but like, he's got his number. That to me alone puts him ahead of Josh Allen.
Really, the way I see it is after the top guy, who we'll get to in a bit, it's very close between a couple of elite young quarterbacks. Joe Burrow is phenomenal. He finds ways to win games.
He's the most accurate passer in the league.
His superpower is he just wins with accuracy, with touch, with timing, with being smarter than you, with taking what the defense gives him, with toughness, because he is tough and he stands in there.
Burrow's amazing. I hate my team going against Burrow because just like at any moment it's like, yeah, of course he's gonna make the completion, he'll make the pass. I just think Allen and Mahomes are better, that's all.
As long as he's there in Cincinnati, they're going to be a relevant playoff, if not Super Bowl contender year after year. He just has that aura around him.
I mean, we're going to be talking about Burrow like we are Mahomes. Just every year, it's like, great, top 3.
I'm disappointed that he's not at 2, quite frankly.
One of the great throws you'll see all year. The alien, Josh Alien Allen, just threw from the opposite hash.
Are Hines votes counting for 3 or something? Is that why Allen is 2? Because I know a lot of us put Burrow at 2.
Yeah, it's like Josh Allen's definitely 3. But if we want to say 2 and Chris Hines going to mope and cry and groan about how, of course, he's 2.
I got a lot of stats and a lot of takes about Josh Allen.
That's just me being a hater. Josh Allen is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. He just ain't 2.
It's tough for me to say this as a Dolphins fan, but the Bills have an elite quarterback on their hands, and you have to respect them.
People are kind of like, he can't beat Mahomes, so like, do you really deserve to kind of be up in that place? Josh Allen does.
When a play breaks down, there's no one open. There's always Josh Allen available to just take off or make someone miss in the backfield and keep the play alive. That athleticism, to me, just gives him a little bit of an edge over Joe Burrow.
Just ignore the stats. Look at the hurdles, the stiff arms, the throwing 60 yards to a double covered fullback in a playoff game. Josh Allen does it all. If you hate on Josh Allen, you do not like football. Josh Allen is on my t-shirt. You know what? I dressed my son in a Josh Allen t-shirt today, just in case anybody wants to debate quarterbacks at daycare.
He's an unbelievable quarterback. He's done great things in Buffalo. He's taken them to the playoffs almost every year he's been the starter there.
I think a fully healthy Josh Allen this year will continue to be one of the best quarterbacks in football.
Honestly, I wish I had the nerve, the gall to put him at number 1, but I do have some respect for the craft, and I understand Patrick Mahomes, for now, is better. But you want to talk about a guy who's moving up next year? Next year, Josh Allen's going to be number 1 on this list coming off a Super Bowl. Let's go back to this tape anytime you want.
We were having a different conversation last year when it came to Josh Allen. We were having the conversation that, is he better or on the same level as Mahomes going into last season? And I think what Mahomes did clearly put distance and by a pretty reasonable gap between the two. And we're talking about other guys that might be number 2 instead of him.
Mahomes looking that way, throwing that way. Kelsey got it. Touchdown.
Do we even need to talk about Patrick Mahomes anymore?
We're going to get bored talking about Mahomes the same way we have with Rodgers, with Brady.
Okay, so I had notes on every single guy. And next to Mahomes, I just put no notes.
I think it's so funny that last year there was a debate of who the best quarterback in football is.
He's the best. That's it. It's not really a competition.
There's no argument to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is one on this list. If anybody said otherwise, they are wrong.
There's no reasons to even suggest that he's not the best quarterback. If anyone doesn't have him as the number 1 quarterback in football, then you're just lying to yourself.
I think he's the greatest talent this game has ever seen, and he's chasing greatness. He's got, another 10 plus years of great football ahead. How many can he win in that time? That's the question.
He is on the trajectory to becoming the best quarterback of all time. You might already say right now, with what he's done, 2 Super Bowls, the MVPs in such a short span, he's already...
I don't think there's a situation, bar him just beating himself and having a bad season, that he wouldn't be number 1. Because the heights that other quarterbacks would have to reach to unseat him, and not just reach this year, but do it consecutive years. Because I think, as we all see in this rankings with Jalen Hurts, it's going to take more than 1 year for this tough group of panelists right here to believe in you as far as unseating a guy, especially in that top 5.
So for Mahomes to not be number 1 next year, it's going to take what happens in reality. Josh Allen's going to win a Super Bowl. He will be number 1, and then Mahomes will be 2. And honestly, who doesn't want to see these 2 guys battle it out in a Manning-Brady type rivalry? I know, I want that.
I would say if he were to decide that he wanted to play baseball for a year and not play football for an entire season and just go focus on baseball, then he probably wouldn't be number 1. So as long as he's not playing in the league, that's probably it. That's the way. I think Bryce Young is so small. I think it's so hard to play the NFL game at his size. Not only is he shorter, but he's skinny. He's a skinny fella. One 350-pound man lands on him the wrong way. My guess is probably CJ would be my guess. I think he's got the physical tools.
I think Bryce Young is going to be the higher of the 3 just because of how good he was in college and how dominant he was. And he's sort of the full package as a quarterback. I'm more sold on him than I am CJ.
I think if there's one rookie to have the best season this year, it's probably going to be Bryce Young. I think he's on the best roster of those 3. He's in the best position to succeed. I also think he's the most pro-ready. Very, very accurate at Alabama. Gifted thrower of the football. A new catchphrase for Russell Wilson.
Oh, God. The way to put me on the spot there. Is Broncos country, let's ride? Is that gone?
Broncos country, let's ride.
I was thinking about this pretty heavily. More heavily than I should.
Don't say anything that's going to turn into a meme. Don't be in a Subway commercial that's going to turn into a meme.
I think what he should do is after every touchdown just kind of scream, Italian herb and cheese.
Stay as low-key as possible. Listen to Sean Payton.
It's getting dangerous. Like his name. I think that's also his Instagram handle, Dangerous Wilson.
Chill. Don't try and be funny. Don't try and be corny. Don't say anything. If someone puts a microphone in front of your face, just don't talk. Just nod.
I think when you have a gem like Russell Wilson, he's going to do something so awkward and cringe that he's going to create it for us. He does not need our help.
I think Jordan Love is one.
So if I'm betting the earth on it, I'm picking none. to be completely honest. I don't trust Justin Fields. I know everyone loves Justin Fields, but the guy throws for negative 47 air yards.
I really want to say none, but in the spirit of being nice, I'm going to say Daniel Jones. I think what he's done in New York is really, really good. I think he has lots of potential, and I feel like if you put the ball in his hands, he can make plays happen. So I'm hoping if the future of the earth is in his hands, Daniel Jones is going to help us. So I'm going to go with him.
The Death Star is blowing up the earth. We are doomed, and unless we can get a better quarterback in there other than that group.
I'm going to go with Justin Fields because I feel like not only do a lot of players around the league have a lot of respect for him, like he made the top 100 this year. You can't teach speed and elusiveness like he has. They've surrounded him with really good weapons. They've bolstered their O-line. And I think Fields is ultra talented. And I think now that he has actual support and an offense and coaching staff in place that's playing to his strengths, we're going to see him flourish.
I think I'm going to say Jordan Love. I'm going to keep the love for Jordan Love going.
Dak at 9 is crazy. I think you can round out a top 10 with Dak if you really wanted to, but no.
I think Dak at number 9 is way too high. We haven't seen him have any success in the playoffs. He tends to choke under pressure, hasn't really been that great. I know Cowboys fans are going to come at me for this one, and I'm sorry, Cowboys fans, because I know you guys are the most insane fans in the NFL, but I think Dak Prescott is ranked a little bit too high personally.
I'm going to say Russell Wilson's too high. I know this is a projection of like going into the season. These are the top 32. And I know he's had a great career. But last season, like, he sucked. Is there any other way to say it than Russell Wilson sucked last season? He was so bad.
I think Kenny Pickett we're gonna look at this video next year and be like, I can't believe we had Kenny Pickett at 23, kind of like how we had Hurts ranked so low last year.